Vitruvius, the architect. Who is he? Is he important? The architect right, of any project is the designer and the engineer. So the architect must grasp the engineering, and then other people below him in his team will understand the detail and the calculations, etc. But the architect understands everything about the construction that he's made. So he's a really important player. And so who's Vitruvius? Vitruvius is named by Leonardo da Vinci. Now, do you think Leonardo da Vinci was an intelligent man? Intelligent man recognized that Vitruvius was the architect. Okay? And my evidence for that is Vitruvian Man, because he begins the text above the Vitruvian Man, the famous one, says, Vitruvius the architect, in his measure of a man, says this, the proportions of the measure of a man. So what he's saying is that Vitruvius the architect says, this is how big a man is. Small, too small. Because Vitruvius is the Roman, and the Romans run this world. So the Romans are, I think, best way to see the Romans as interdimensional beings. They don't exist in our dimension. They come from another dimension. They come into our dimension. They extract energy from us. They tap. They found a honeypot. They found a hive of honey full of larvae, us, and they can extract energy from it, if they're really careful with the way they extract energy. And the way they extract energy is through the mind, through control of time. So the Sumerians were human beings who were given the information by the interdimensional beings and built a civilization of wonder, knowledge, skill through control of time to suit nature. They didn't control time. They went with time. Everything they did was, what's the time? How is the time pushing us? What's the wave? What's the motion of the time? How does it affect us? What's the seasons? What's the turn of the planet, the day, the night, the day, the hours of the day, the passing of time, the passing of the sun, the passing of the cosmos? All of these things, they went with it. They leaned into time. When the Romans came down, the interdimensional beings who hated us and just wanted to extract the energy and didn't care about us, they took over. The Sumerians destroyed their civilization, took all their information, built it into a system of control and pushed it upon us. And who did it? Vitruvius. So, Da Vinci, a very intelligent man, wants to give us disclosure, but knows that disclosure is illegal. It must come from the side. What is disclosure? Disclosure is that the Earth's the centre of the universe, provable with mathematics and engineering. But you can't do it. You're not allowed to. Yeah? No matter how clever we get. See, we've got so clever. Da Vinci was so clever that he could do it. He could have told us directly the Earth's the centre of the universe, given us a small diagram that proved it, of a special type of torus, twist at the centre and a hole in one side, and proved that the Earth's the centre. We're not allowed to. And so he gave us a diagram, Vitruvian Man, with a puzzle in it. And this is the puzzle. What's the relationship between the circle and the square? That's easy. It's golden ratio. So that the centre of the square and the centre of the circle are golden ratio separate. Yeah, the relationship between the two, the circle and the square, is the golden ratio. 5. But why is the question. When you look at the diagram, something is odd about it, because the square sticks out of the circle. You would think that if you were drawing that to perfection and that everything was to nature and to correct and complete, that the square would fit inside the circle, that the corner of the square at the top would be the support of the circle itself as a two-dimensional structure. Can you see? But that's not possible, because the centre of bending must always be outside the mass. So the meter 4, the action about which all structural engineering is centered around a center point about which mass turns. Often that mass is inside the mass, seemingly from the classic Newtonian rotation. The center of bending is inside the mass. But when you see it relative to the center of the planet, you see, no, the center of bending is actually the center of the planet, of any bending that you do on the surface. And so the center of bending must be outside the mass. And so it is created that way through the stretching force of the twin lever diagram that I've drawn, the trigger mechanism. So take a circle, and it's got an inside and outside sphere. Now I'm going to take those two entities, the inside sphere and the outside sphere, and there's a thickness between them, and I'm going to make me so I can see the thickness stretched, and I'm going to take one ring and pull it apart from the other one, and now I've got two circles, and they're joined by the surface tension that was holding those two forces together in a circle. And now by seeing the two forces of the wave break, you've got an orthogonal action. The second lever, the second two, so imagine that the small first sphere is a pi diameter. The two of them are 2 pi diameter. So that the first lever is the radius, the second lever is its diameter. Damn, I got it wrong. So the radius is pi, and the diameter is 2 pi. So it's the relationship between the lever arm 2 pi to the radius pi that's the key here. So when it gets to position 1, the 2 pi lever arm splits the break of the wave. Right? The two forces try to separate, binding and bending and ring tension. Now separate. Tension and bending, literally, separate. The tearing force comes. The material is about to tear. Yeah, the water is about to tear, and so it breaks. But in the action of breaking, it must go through the motion that held the twist there in the first place. And so now you can see the mechanism that gets built up. Creates the counter snap action at position 3, where you get 1, 2, 3 segments of a triad created, a T with an upright, with bent uprights holding it. Right? And that's orthogonal action to the base of a lens of meter squared per second squared. So it exists everywhere. So those fixed points, the 2i fixed points, exist everywhere, infinitely, except one place, where the 3 pin is. Where the 3 pin is. Because the 3 pin is the 1. That's where 1 lives, actually lives there. The 1 is aware that there's a 1 down there. There's another 1. Amazing. Take that T shape, right, now, which is now you know is infinitely holding the sphere together. Take the T shape up to the Vitruvian man progenitor, top left, and now you see, I got it. When I added, look what Cliff Pickover gave me, the circle, the phi ratio circles, you can see that the center of the square is now on the line of the golden ratio, and that when you add the circles, and now you put the square, the circles are cavitation, you get it? So because we're dealing with cavitation, the wave is broken, more cavitation is now appearing inside the cavitation. Those circles are the cavitation, the stretching. There's a membrane in between them. And that membrane has a strength, and that strength is square related to the circle, the stretching. It's the architecture, the structure, the frame of the expanding sphere that controls the speed of expansion. And that speed of expansion is 0. All the acceleration is in the surface tension itself. And this is what it does, creates itself. And now you can see. So I drew the circle with the T shape inside it. I filled it with the phi ratio circles, seeing that the line of the T point was the center of the golden ratio. Drew it, and yes, the circle sticks above the square. Got it, nailed it, because the cavitation is additional stretching force added. Because of the stretching, there's additional stretching, so the center of bending is outside the mass. Few bending action can occur because there's a bending motion there outside. But it's not a square. Don't blame. It's not tall enough. And so now you can see it flicks again. There's another motion. Because of this additional energy, there's another motion where the straight line snaps and goes up to a straight line. That straight line has reverse chiralities in it. I haven't shown them yet. Left and right hand. And they join as a straight line with left and right hand chiralities, creating the structure of a man, the backbone of a man. And so you've lifted the circle by the square, which is oblate in that arrangement from the creation of the circular breaking of the wave, becomes square from the action of the man himself inflating his heart. So Vitruvius, the architect, says this is the measures and the proportions of a man. He's little. The Reynolds number says walk tall, my friend, because your heart's in the wrong place. It should be there, straight up and down, powered by the solar plexus as a recursive system. We waste so much energy with our heartbeats. That's why we die of cancer and heart disease. That's why we get disease. It's because we're all the energy has been taken from us. We are being parasitized by an interdimensional entity. Okay? It's wonderful news, because we can stop it like that. And time is eternal, so everything that's happened doesn't matter. We just have to learn the lesson, nail it, and build a planet of wonder. Because what marks out a species as master of all time is that he can see the future. He builds for the future. We build for nothing now. We build for 5 years, 20 years, 25 years, when we should be building for millennia. Because that's how far we can now see. Because Atlas that's coming is a seed that we sowed. We will sow this seed now through the action that we take. The shockwave that moves out from the planet will create a shockwave right through the cosmos that will send an object dislodged from the cosmic microwave background, and that builds into an iridium sphere coated with nickel, sends it towards us, and ends up arriving here as a new moon, because the shockwave that we send out will meet the moon that we sent out when we send the shockwave out, completing the loop of time. In the end of a science fiction film that all makes a lot of sense, because it includes salvation and the meaning of life. And what's the answer? 4 to 2 to -1. 4 twist ratios to 2 twist ratios anti-clockwise from fluids to vapor mechanics, with a -1 tick at the center of the clockwise reaction, which is the bending moment outside the mass. Time occurs. Repeat. Okay, you happy now, world? Yeah, because I'm telling you, listen to me. Acts 3, 22, 23. If you do, good news for you. If you don't, you choose. You choose. See you later.